Hi everyone, in this video I'm gonna talk about the process of building this autoplaying simple bento or grid animation. We can see each grid gets bigger and becomes our content card. We can close if we want before its progress bar reaches to the end. We can also click any of them to view anytime. You can find the remix link for the file in the description, so let's get started. Let's break down the square component first. In its default state, it only has an icon, as you see, and in its active state, it becomes our content card, showing also a title and a text. We don't need to set any interactions here, since we set them in the Bento grid component. The click interaction here comes from those ones in the upper component. You can notice if we try to delete this click interaction, we see this message that's warning us if we delete this interaction, it'll prevent triggering some events in the smart component. Of course, we have icon, title, and body text assigned to the variables to be able to quickly change in the Bento grid component. The close icon here doesn't have any interactions, since we need its target to be specific to the card that it's included in, so we're assigning its interaction in the upper component. We also have this progress bar that has a slide effect being triggered on appear. Let's check its effect settings actually, and it has an X offset, as you see, that takes it completely out of the card, and its animation duration is determined by the time we set under its easing settings here, which is 5 seconds, and that's equal to the card's appearance duration in the upper Bento grid component. Let's check that one. In our Bento component, we need to have a separate variant for each card. We can see here, in addition to time triggers for each variant, we also have click interactions for the small squares, like once we click the first square, it activates the second variant, which has the first card active, second one activates the second card, and so on. The challenge here was, in the active variants that have cards, we don't want user to click and activate any other cards, since that would make our UI unusable. And making the squares invisible in the active variants would make it impossible to create a nice fading out transition, which is only possible by changing the opacity. And as you know, even if you make an element's opacity 0, its interaction works because it's still visible. So as a workaround, in the active variants, I set all squares pointer events to none, which made them static elements without any interactions. As you see, if I select all 4 square components in an active card, their pointer events under styles is set to none. The only interaction we have in the active or card variants is the clickable close button, which was another complicated interaction. You might think of assigning the interaction of the close button in the inner square component, but since we want the target variant of the close button to be specific to the card that it belongs to, we need to change its target in each card, which is the next variant for each close button to keep the animation cycle. You can see here, once we click the close button in the second variant, which has the first card active, it takes us to the third variant, which is the next one. And of course, the target of the close button in the last card variant is the first one, since we need to restart the animation loop. Last thing that I need to mention is all cards time transition is equal to the progress bar's animation duration, which is 5 seconds. As we can see here under appear interaction settings of a card as delay setting. We can go back to home screen and see again. Those all make our Bento grid's auto animation work seamlessly and makes it possible to view any card we want anytime, creating an intuitive and flawless interaction. I hope you liked the tutorial. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe, turn the notifications on, check my other tutorials, and see you in the next one.